Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the zodiac sign Cancer and their personality. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, anyway, people, first thing I'll look at with the zodiac sign Cancer and their personality is the fact, of course, Cancer can be very moody and temperamental. Their mood swings may very well be dependent on the placement of the moon. You may see a different person every 2 or 3 days because of this. Cancer can be very moody, and it's really their emotions can change very quickly. And the thing about Cancer, though, is that they could be very sensitive, and really they fear criticism, derogatory remarks. They're often victims of unintentional slights, things they may misconstrue and take maybe to a personal level. When somebody might be making a general statement, they may be taking it to another level and think that it was pertaining specifically to them as an example. And the thing about Cancer, too, is that they often are very enamored and infatuated with their home and with their family. The zodiac sign Cancer is the sign that is associated with life-giving. Cancer people often want prodigious families and a strong home life in existence. I believe a lot of this is connected with the fact that it gives them some kind of emotional security. And Cancers are the type of people that will equip their homes with a lot of, say, security features, such as a Wi-Fi doorbell could be an example, and just alarm systems and things that will make them feel secure and really protected. And protection and being protective is strongly connected with the zodiac sign Cancer. And another thing about the zodiac sign Cancer is that if the zodiac sign Cancer is hurt, they often will become very quiet and reticent for a very protracted period. That is often how they deal with this. I mean, they don't really, they're more likely to just kind of sulk for a while and brood when they're upset or angry about something. But when they unleash their emotions, of course, there could be trouble, because the zodiac sign Cancer, along with Pisces, are, I think, they're unequivocally the two most emotional signs of the zodiac. Now, the zodiac sign Cancer can also be a very strong family defender, and even though the sign is generally passive, submissive, and timid, if you mess with the sign, this person that has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Cancer, you mess with, say, one of their family members, then you might be in for a very combative situation, and you really better, they're going to really release a lot of anger, or could very well be directed at you. So they'll be out, a lot of times they will be out with a vengeance. That is one thing you don't want to do generally, is mess with a Cancer's family. That is one thing I would say about this sign. And the thing too about the zodiac sign Cancer is that even though, I mean, Cancer, you may not, this is a sign you may see. I mean, not just see, they can be very talkative and loquacious, but with people that they're familiar with, unlike Gemini, for example, who will talk with virtually anybody about anything. The zodiac sign Cancer can choose their friends, acquaintances with a lot of prudence, a lot of caution. They just don't want to become hurt by others. I think what's important to understand about Cancer, if you have a friend or family member that's a Cancer sun, moon, or ascendant, I think Cancer can be rather impressionable, along with Pisces especially. And you want to be careful in terms of who you let your Cancer associate with. You don't want to bring him or her over to somebody that might be doing drugs, for example, because this sign, Cancer, can be easily led. I had a prominent family member who has a Cancer ascendant, and it seemed like whatever somebody would say to her, a lot of times she would just often go along with it. If it was something negative about me, it just seemed like she would just go with it and not even ask me my side of things. So they can be easily led, unfortunately, because the sign can be impressionable. And another thing too is that Cancer as an employee can be very diligent and very loyal. And as long as you don't scrutinize and monitor their every move, because you know they are about security, they want to feel secure, and they don't really want somebody hovering over them like a hovercraft, say as a supervisor. So if you're a supervisor and you know somebody that has a sun, moon, or ascendant in Cancer, I mean, you have to do your job. Of course, you got to make sure they're working, but at the same time, you don't necessarily have to be right in that, always in that same vicinity, right within a few feet of them. There's ways you can kind of monitor your Cancer employee without making them feel uncomfortable. So those are some things to consider with the sign. And the sign, of course, could be very sentimental and can really take things to heart. Cancer can be exceptionally sensitive. This sign often is one which will reminisce and reflect on the past. You'll often hear a Cancer say, remember this or remember when. Those statements can be very synonymous with this sign, because this sign often likes to reflect on the past and think about all those fond moments and memories. As many of you may know, my sun sign is Cancer. I actually have a stellium in Cancer. I have Mercury and Mars as well in Cancer and a stellium. And I'm constantly talking about things that have happened from the past, and especially because I have Mercury in Cancer as well. I think this definitely really reinforces that, not just having the sun in Cancer, but that Mercury, talking about things connected with the past a lot. But the thing about it is, too, Cancer is very intuitive, and if there's some kind of bad vibes in the air, they're often going to be very cognizant of it. They're very sensitive to environments. They could often pick up bad vibes in their general environment very quickly, where Scorpio's intuition, I believe, is strongly connected with deciphering motives and intentions of others. You often have a Cancer just has a general feel for things in environments, I think, and Pisces, of course, is more about seeing more what's going to happen ahead of time. So, I mean, all these signs, of course, are intuitive, but of course in different ways, I believe. But another thing about Cancer too is that, as well I stated before, they are sensitive to their extraneous environment, their surroundings, and even things just like noise and things. And I think people that are unfamiliar to them, they could be apprehensive about. Cancer likes to be in their comfort zone and being around people that are familiar with. And this is a sign too that could be very contemplative. It was funny, one day I was sitting down at a fast food place, and a friend of mine, ironically, I believe his rising sign is Cancer, but of course I stay before my sun sign is Cancer, and he said something like deep thinking with Eddie, meaning I was in deep thought. And I just thought it was kind of funny, because Cancer can be that sign that is often really very contemplative and really meditating, really thinking and contemplating things, and which is what I pretty much was doing then. And the thing about Cancer too, they can be somewhat clingy as well, and very possessive and protective of people that they truly care about. And when Cancer loves somebody, it seems like with them, it's so much, it's so strong with so much emotion. With a Cancer could be so easily hurt. I think what happens is Cancer often will expend a lot of energy, putting energy into a relationship. And what happens is, if the other party, their significant other, doesn't reciprocate or doesn't even give like maybe half of what they're giving, I think that it leaves them devastated and puts them in an emotional flux, because they're putting so much into it. And that's what I think hurts Cancer a lot. I think a lot of that is associated with this sign's sensitivity. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Cancer and their personality. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about Leo and their personality. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.